I'm glad you're here with me. Please like this video and listen to my story till the end, and let me know which city you're listening from. That way I can see how far my story has traveled. My son wrote, "Don't you dare come to us for Christmas. We don't want to see you." My daughter said nothing. I calmly replied, "Okay." And then I canceled all the bank payments. In the morning, they both stood at my doorstep. I used to believe that being a good father meant sacrificing everything for your children. For 35 years, I lived by that principle. My name is Robert Chen, and at 62 years old, I had spent the better part of my life ensuring my two children, Michael and Sarah, had everything they needed. My wife Linda died 7 years ago, leaving me a comfortable pension, our paid-off house in suburban Cleveland, and a modest investment portfolio. I wasn't wealthy, but I was secure, and I was generous. Perhaps too generous, I would later realize. Every month, like clockwork, I sent Michael $1,500. He was 34, married to Jennifer, a woman who seemed to change jobs more often than the seasons. They had 2 children, Sophie and Jake, my precious grandchildren, whom I adored. Michael always had reasons why they needed the money. Unexpected medical bills, car repairs, Sophie's gymnastics classes, Jake's tutoring. Sarah, my 31-year-old daughter, received $1,000 monthly. She was single, working in marketing, but apparently her salary never quite covered her expenses. There was always something: student loans, rent increases, her car payment. Beyond the monthly payments, there were the extras: birthday gifts that cost hundreds, Christmas presents that maxed out my credit card, emergency loans that were never repaid. When Michael's washing machine broke, I bought them a new one. When Sarah's laptop died, I replaced it within days. I told myself this was what fathers did. This was love. But lately, something had shifted. The phone calls became shorter, more transactional. "Hi, Dad, just checking if you sent this month's payment yet. Dad, I need an extra $500 by Friday." The "I love you" started feeling like afterthoughts, obligations tacked on to requests for money. Thanksgiving had been strange. Michael had barely spoken to me, too busy on his phone. Sarah had arrived late and left early, claiming she had plans with friends. Neither of them asked how I was doing, whether I was lonely in that big house by myself, whether my arthritis was bothering me again. I pushed down the hurt. They were busy. They had their own lives. This was normal, wasn't it? Then December arrived, and with it, the first real wound. I had mentioned casually that I'd love to spend Christmas with them this year. Maybe I could come to Michael's house, help with the cooking, watch the kids open presents. Or they could all come to me. I'd prepare Linda's famous prime rib, set up the guest rooms. Michael's response came via text message, not even a phone call. I stared at my phone screen, reading the words over and over, certain I must have misunderstood. "Don't you dare come here for Christmas. We don't want to see you." My hands trembled as I read it again. The message continued, "We need family time, just us. You're always so needy and demanding. We need space. Don't call, don't text, just leave us alone for the holidays." I sat down heavily on my kitchen chair, the nearly slipping from my grip. Needy? Demanding? I asked to see my own family for Christmas. Was that demanding? I waited for Sarah to call, to check on me, to at least acknowledge what her brother had said. We had a family group chat. She surely saw the message. Silence. Hours passed, then a full day. Sarah said nothing. Her silence felt like agreement, like betrayal, just as sharp as Michael's words. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, Linda's side of the bed cold and empty as it had been for 7 years. What had I done wrong? Had I been too available? Too giving? Or had I simply been too blind to see what my children had become? The next morning, I sat at my kitchen table with my coffee and my laptop. I opened my bank account and looked at the automatic transfers I had set up years ago. $1,500 to Michael, $1,000 to Sarah. Month after month, year after year. I thought about the text message, about Sarah's silence, about how neither of them had asked how I was doing in months. And then, with a clarity that surprised me, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I canceled every automatic payment. All of them. Then I texted back, just one word. "Okay." After I pressed send on that single word, I sat motionless for several minutes, my heart pounding. What had I just done? But as the initial shock faded, something else took its place. Not anger, not yet. First came curiosity. A a cold, analytical curiosity I hadn't felt in years. I opened my banking app and began to scroll, not just through recent months, but years. I exported statements, created a spreadsheet, something Linda and I used to do together when we managed our household budget. The numbers that emerged made me feel physically ill. Over the past 5 years alone, I had sent Michael $90,000 in regular monthly payments. Sarah had received $60,000, but that was just the automatic transfers. Then there were the emergencies. Michael's transmission repair, $3,000. Sarah's security deposit for her apartment, $2,000. Michael's root canal, $1,500. Sarah's emergency flight to a friend's wedding, $800. The pattern went on and on. I added another column for gifts. Christmas, birthdays, Easter, graduations. The all-terrain stroller for Sophie, $400. Jake's gaming computer, $1,200. Sarah's new phone, $900. When I finally totaled everything, I had to check the number 3 times because surely I had made a mistake. $173,000 in 5 years. I sat back, my coffee now cold, my hands shaking. That was nearly my entire inheritance from Linda. The money she had worked so hard for, saved so carefully, left specifically for my security in old age. And what had I gotten in return? A text message telling me I wasn't welcome at Christmas? A daughter who couldn't even defend me or speak up? The phone rang. I jumped, my heart racing. It was Michael. For a moment, I considered not answering, but I picked up. "Dad?" His voice was tight, controlled. "I see you canceled the transfers." No apology. No, I'm sorry for what I said. Just immediate focus on the money. "Yes," I said simply. "Well, you need to fix that. The mortgage payment is due, and I'm counting on that money." The mortgage payment on the house that Jennifer and he had bought? The house I had helped with the down payment for? $20,000. I had almost forgotten about that. "No," I said. Silence. "Then what?" I said, "No, Michael, I won't be fixing it." "Are you serious right now? You're going to punish us because you're having some kind of emotional breakdown? We have bills, Dad. We have kids." "So do I," I said quietly. "I have bills, too. You have your pension. You have Mom's life insurance. You're fine." Was I fine? I thought about my property taxes due in January, my own mortgage. Yes, even the paid-off house had a small reverse mortgage I'd taken out 2 years ago when Michael needed help with Sophie's medical bills, my prescription costs that seemed to climb every year. "I need to go," I said. "Dad, wait!" I hung up. The phone immediately rang again. I turned it off. For the first time in weeks, the house was completely silent, and in that silence, I began to think clearly. I wasn't going to simply cut them off and hope they learned a lesson. That would accomplish nothing. They would just be angry, would paint me as the villain, the cruel father who abandoned his struggling children. I needed a plan. I needed to understand exactly how much control they thought they had over me. I needed to see what they would do when the money stopped. I needed evidence of their true motives, their true feelings. And I needed to protect myself legally, financially, emotionally. I turned on my laptop and began to research elderly financial abuse, legal protection for seniors, how to document financial exploitation, estate planning. Hours passed. The winter sun set early, casting long shadows through my kitchen windows. I barely noticed. I made lists. I made phone calls to automated bank services, taking notes. I found the business card of Linda's old attorney, Samuel Harrison, still in our filing cabinet. By midnight, I had the skeleton of a plan. Step 1, document everything. Step 2, consult with Attorney Harrison about protecting my assets. Step 3, set up a new bank account they didn't know about. Step 4, wait. Watch. Let them show their true colors. Step 5, make my decision about my estate based on their actions, not my guilt. I finally went to bed at 1 in the morning, exhausted, but strangely calm. For the first time in years, I wasn't lying awake worrying about whether Michael had enough money or whether Sarah was okay. I was thinking about myself. and it felt like waking up from a very long sleep. Samuel Harrison's law office hadn't changed since Linda and I had last visited years ago to update our wills. The same mahogany desk, the same leather chairs, even the same receptionist, though she had grayed considerably, as had we all. "Robert," Samuel stood, extending his hand. He was 70 now, semi-retired, but his eyes were still sharp. "I was sorry to hear about your situation. Please sit." I had called him 3 days after canceling the payments, and he'd fit me in immediately. Now, sitting across from him, I laid out everything. The spreadsheet, printed bank statements, text messages I'd screenshotted, a timeline of financial requests. Samuel put on his reading glasses and reviewed the documents in silence. His expression grew grimmer with each page. $173,000 in 5 years, he finally said. "Robert, do you realize this qualifies as financial exploitation of an elderly person in Ohio?" Elderly person. The word stung, but I pushed past the sting. "I gave it willingly," I said. "Under emotional manipulation and undue influence, apparently," he tapped Michael's Christmas text. "This kind of verbal abuse combined with financial demands creates a pattern. How old are you?" 62. "And your health?" "Arthritis, high blood pressure, some anxiety since Linda died." He made notes. "I'm going to be direct with you, Robert. If you want to protect your remaining assets, we need to act now. Your children know you're vulnerable. They're counting on it." My throat tightened. "What do you recommend?" "First, a new will. Currently, everything goes to them equally upon your death, correct?" I nodded. "We change that. Make your estate conditional based on behavior, or redirect assets to a trust, or even to charity if you choose. Second, I want you to document every interaction going forward. Every call, text, visit. Time, date, content. Fourth, consider a financial power of attorney to someone neutral, not them, in case you become incapacitated. Fifth, if they escalate to threats or harassment, we file for a protection order." Protection order against my own children. The thought made me dizzy. "I know this is difficult," Samuel said gently, "but I've seen this pattern before. Adult children who view their aging parents as ATM machines. It rarely improves without intervention." I left his office 2 hours later with a thick folder of documents to review and sign. My hands shook as I drove home. That evening, as I was making dinner, my phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. Her first direct communication since the Christmas message.
"Dad, what's going on? Michael said you're acting crazy. I need the money for rent. It's due tomorrow." I stared at the message. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "I'm sorry I didn't defend you," just the money. I typed back, "I've made some financial changes. You'll need to budget differently going forward." Her response was immediate. "Are you kidding me? I'll be evicted. Is this because of what Michael said? He was just stressed. You know how he is." You know how he is. As if that excused it. As if his stress justified cruelty. Another message. "I'm coming over tomorrow. We need to talk about this." Then, Michael. "Sarah told me you're cutting her off too? What is wrong with you? We're your children." I didn't respond to either of them, but I did something else. I went to my bedroom closet and found the box of cards and letters they'd sent me over the years. I sat on my bed and read through them. The early ones, when they were children and teenagers, were filled with drawings, earnest declarations of love, memories of things we'd done together. But somewhere around their mid-20s, the tone shifted. "Thanks for everything you do for us, Dad. You're the best, Dad. Hope you have a great day." Generic, impersonal, like corporate greeting cards. And then, in the past 3 years, the cards had stopped altogether. Michael had sent digital cards, obviously free e-cards that took 30 seconds to select and send. Sarah had forgotten entirely some years, texting a belated Happy Father's Day the day after. I found one card from 2 years ago from Michael. I had saved it because it had seemed particularly heartfelt at the time. "Dad, you are always there when we need you. Your generosity knows no bounds. We love you so much." Reading it now with new eyes, I saw it differently. Always there when we need you, when they needed me, when they needed money, not we're here for you, not let us help you. I photographed the card and added it to a new folder on my phone labeled Evidence. That night, I barely slept because I knew that tomorrow, when Sarah showed up at my door, the real confrontation would begin, and I needed to be ready. Sarah arrived at 11 the next morning. I watched through the window as her car pulled into the driveway, the Honda Accord I had helped her buy 3 years ago with a $5,000 loan that was never repaid. She knocked sharply. I waited a moment, steadying myself, then opened the door. "Dad?" She didn't smile. She looked tired, irritated. "We need to talk." "Come in," I said evenly. She walked past me into the living room, and that's when I saw Michael's SUV pull up behind her. My stomach dropped. They had coordinated this. Michael climbed out, his face set in hard lines. Jennifer stayed in the car with the kids. I could see Sophie and Jake in the back seat, and my heart ached. They'd brought my grandchildren as props. "Both of you," I said, as Michael entered without knocking. "I see." "Sit down, Dad," Michael said. It wasn't a request. "This is my house," I replied quietly. "I'll stand if I want to." Sarah ran a hand through her hair. "Look, Dad, I don't know what's going on with you, but this stops today. You can't just cut us off without warning." "I gave you warning," I said. "You told me not to come for Christmas. You told me you didn't want to see me. I respected your wishes." Michael's eyes flashed. "That was about Christmas, not about money. You're twisting everything." "Am I?" I met his gaze steadily. "Then let me ask you something, Michael. When was the last time you called me just to talk, not to ask for money, just to see how I was doing?" He blinked. We talk all the time." "When?" "I don't keep a calendar of our conversations, Dad. This is ridiculous." Sarah stepped forward. "Dad, I'm about to be evicted. Evicted. Do you understand what that means? My credit will be destroyed. I might lose my job if I have to move suddenly and can't make the commute." "You make $60,000 a year." I had looked up average salaries for her position. "Your rent is $900 a month. Where is your money going, Sarah?" Her face reddened. "That's none of your business. It became my business when you made me responsible for your rent." "You're our father," Michael's voice rose sharply. "You're supposed to help us. That's what fathers do." "Help, yes. Enable? No. There's a difference, and I'm just beginning to understand it." "Enable? Oh my God, have you been watching Dr. Phil or something? We're not addicts, Dad. We're your children who are struggling." "Struggling?" I walked to my desk and picked up the folder I'd prepared. "Michael, you and Jennifer took a vacation to Cancun last spring. I saw the photos on Facebook. That's not struggling."
That was a credit card. We needed a break. And who do you think will pay that credit card when you can't? Who were you counting on? His mouth opened, then closed. I turned to Sarah. "You bought a new designer handbag last month. I saw it in your Instagram story, $1,200, but you can't make rent?" "I needed that for work," she protested weakly. The room fell silent. Then Michael's face transformed. His anger melted into something softer. "Dad, please, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry about what I said. I was stressed. Jennifer's been having trouble at work, and the kids are expensive, and I took it out on you. But you can't punish the kids because I lost my temper." Punish the kids. He was good. He knew exactly where to strike. "Sophie needs her gymnastics classes," Michael continued. "Jake has a field trip coming up. Are you really going to take that away from them because you're mad at me?" I felt the familiar guilt rising, the instinct to comfort, to fix, to provide. For a moment, I almost wavered. Then I remembered the spreadsheet. $173,000. I remembered the Christmas text. I remembered Sarah's silence. "No," I said firmly. Michael's expression hardened. "You're really doing this?" "I am." "Fine." He turned toward the door. "Don't come crying to us when you're old and sick and need someone to take care of you." The threat hung in the air, ugly and clear. Sarah grabbed her purse. "You're going to regret this, Dad. Family is supposed to stick together, but apparently you're fine with being alone." She paused at the door. "Don't expect to see your grandchildren anymore." They left. I stood in my empty living room, shaking. The threat about the grandchildren hit harder than anything else.
Sophie and Jake, they were innocent in all this. But I couldn't let manipulation win. I couldn't. I sat down heavily and allowed myself to cry for the first time since this began. Great heaving sobs that came from somewhere deep inside. Then I dried my eyes, called Samuel Harrison and reported every word they'd said. Documented all, he confirmed. You're doing the right thing, Robert, even when it doesn't feel like it. For the next 3 days, I followed his advice. I didn't check my phone obsessively. I watched old movies. I cooked meals just for myself. I grieved. I grieved for the children I thought I had raised. I grieved for the relationship I thought we had. I grieved for my illusions. And slowly, I began to feel something else. Relief. The call came from my brother Tom on the 4th day. Rob, he said, using my childhood nickname, I talked to Michael this morning. I closed my eyes. Of course they had called Tom. What did he tell you? That you've had some kind of breakdown and cut them off financially. He's worried about you, buddy. So am I. I haven't had a breakdown, Tom. I've had a realization. He said you won't even see the grandkids. That doesn't sound like you. He's the one who said I couldn't see them. I wanted to spend Christmas with them. He told me not to come, told them they didn't want to see me. When I stopped sending money, suddenly I'm the villain. Silence on the other end. Tom was thinking. How much were you sending them? He asked finally. Thousands, every month, for years. Oh, Rob, his tone shifted. Why didn't you tell me? I thought I was being a good father. And now I'm trying to be a healthy person. We talked for an hour. Tom, divorced himself, understood loneliness and the fear of losing family, but he also understood manipulation. His own daughter had tried similar tactics before he set boundaries.
It's going to hurt, he warned. They're going to try everything. They'll send the kids to guilt you. They'll play the victim to everyone who listen. They'll make you doubt yourself. I know. But if you cave now, it'll only get worse. They'll know exactly how to control you. After we hung up, I felt less alone. But Tom's prediction came true faster than I expected. That afternoon, Sophie called, my 10-year-old granddaughter. Grandpa? Her small voice made my chest tighten. Hi, sweetheart. Why are you mad at us? I gripped the phone. I'm not mad at you, Sophie. I love you very much. Daddy said you don't want to see us anymore. He's been really upset. The manipulation was breathtaking, using a child to deliver the message, to apply pressure. Sophie, honey, I love you very much. I wanted to see you for Christmas, but Daddy said no. Do you understand? Daddy said you're being mean about money. Did Daddy tell you to call me? A pause. He's right here. He wants to talk to you. Michael got on the phone. Do you hear that? You're confusing her. She doesn't understand why her grandfather doesn't love her anymore. I took a deep breath. Michael, don't use your daughter to manipulate me. It's not fair to her. I'm not. How dare you? I'm trying to help Sophie understand why her family is falling apart. The family isn't falling apart because I set financial boundaries. Think about that. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but my resolve held. I called Samuel Harrison again. They're using the grandchildren now. Predicted, he said grimly. Don't engage. If they continue, it's harassment. We're documenting it all. That evening, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went to the community center where Linda and I used to take ballroom dancing classes. A support group for widows and widowers met there on Thursday nights. I walked in nervously. About 12 people sat in a circle, ranging from their 50s to their 80s. The facilitator, a kind-faced woman named Carol, welcomed me. I'm Robert, I said. My wife died 7 years ago, and I'm having trouble with my adult children. The stories that followed shocked me. I wasn't alone. 3 other people had similar experiences, adult children who saw them primarily as sources of money. One man's son had stolen his credit cards. Another woman's daughter had forged her signature on loan documents. The hardest part, said a woman named Ruth, who was 73,
is accepting that the children you raised aren't the adults they became. You keep hoping they'll change, go back to being the sweet kids they once were, but sometimes they don't. What did you do? I asked. I changed my will, left everything to a scholarship fund in my late husband's name. When my daughter found out, she didn't speak to me for a year. Then one day she called and apologized. Really apologized. We're rebuilding now, slowly, but it took hitting rock bottom for her to see what she'd become. And if she hadn't apologized? Ruth smiled sadly. Then I'd have peace knowing I didn't reward bad behavior. Either way, I'd be free. Free. The word resonated. I left the meeting with phone numbers, with validation, with the understanding that setting boundaries wasn't cruelty, it was self-preservation. At home, I made tea and sat in Linda's old chair. I thought about the life insurance money, the savings, the house. I thought about Michael's threats and Sarah's silence and Sophie's confused voice. And I thought about Ruth's words. Either way, I'd be free. The next morning, I called Samuel Harrison. I want to change my will, I said. I want to create a trust, and I want very specific conditions. Tell me what you're thinking, he said. I told him, and for the first time in weeks, I smiled. They came on Sunday morning, both of them, without warning. I was having coffee on my porch, enjoying the cold December air, when both cars pulled into my driveway. Michael got out first, followed by Jennifer. Sarah emerged from her car alone. They walked up my driveway with careful, measured steps, a united front. Dad, can we talk, please? We've been thinking a lot, and we want to make things right.
I studied his face. The anger from before was gone. This was a different approach, humble, conciliatory. Come in, I said. We sat in the living room. Jennifer, whom I'd always found vaguely passive, spoke first. Robert, I owe you an apology. I should have been managing our finances better. I shouldn't have let Michael rely on you so much. That's on me. Interesting. She was taking responsibility to make Michael look better. Sarah leaned forward. Dad, I've been doing some thinking too. I've been irresponsible with money. I see that now. I'm going to make changes. They seemed so sincere. For a moment, I almost believed them. I appreciate you coming, I said. What kind of changes? Well, Michael said, glancing at Sarah, we thought maybe we could work out a budget together. You could help us learn to manage money better. You and Mom were always so good at that. A budget, I repeated. Yeah, Sarah said eagerly. Like maybe you could help me set up automatic savings, show me how to track expenses, that kind of thing. And you think that would help? Definitely, Michael said. And look, Dad, about Christmas, I was completely out of line. I was stressed about money and I took it on you. It was wrong. We want you there. The kids miss you terribly. I sat back, observing them. They were good, very good. But something felt off. So you want to reconcile? I said. Yes, Michael's eyes brightened. We're family. Family works through things. And the money? A flicker. Just the briefest flicker crossed his face. What about it? Would you want me to resume the monthly payments while we work on this budget? Michael exchanged a look with Sarah. Well, I mean, we can't just switch everything overnight, right? Maybe a transition period. You could reduce the amount gradually while we get on our feet. There it was. How much were you thinking? I asked. Maybe half, Sarah suggested. Just until I find a cheaper apartment. Maybe 3-4 months. And you, Michael? The same. Just until Jennifer's situation stabilizes. She has some job interviews coming up. Jennifer nodded enthusiastically. Really promising opportunities. I stood up and walked to the window, my back to them. I could see my reflection in the glass. A 62-year-old man who had almost been fooled again. No, I said quietly. Dad, Michael started. I turned to face them. No, I'm not giving you any more money. Not half, not a quarter, nothing. But we just explained, Sarah protested. You explained that you want a transition period. A few more months of money while you get on your feet. And then what? Another crisis? Another excuse? Michael's expression hardened. The mask began to crack. So what, you just going to abandon us? I'm not abandoning you, I'm refusing to enable you. There's a difference. Semantics, Michael stood abruptly. Sarah stood too. You have money, Dad. You have Mom's life insurance, your pension, this house. We're struggling. You're not struggling, Sarah. You're mismanaging, and you've been using me as a backup plan instead of learning to budget. Jennifer finally showed some spine. Unfortunately, it was to defend the manipulation. This is unbelievable, after everything we've done for you. What have you done for me? I asked directly. She faltered. We visit you. We include you in the grandkids' lives. You mean you used to before I stopped paying, and you're using them now as leverage. Sarah's face flushed red. You know what, Dad? We came here trying to fix this, trying to be adults about it, but you're being stubborn and selfish. Selfish? I repeated. I'm selfish for wanting to keep enough money to pay my own bills, to have security in my old age? You're not even that old, Michael snapped. You're 62. You'll probably live another 30 years. You don't need all that money just sitting there. And there was the truth. They weren't worried about their own survival. They were worried about their inheritance.
Get out, I said quietly. What? Get out of my house. Michael's face turned red. Fine, but don't expect us to come running when you need help someday. Don't expect us to visit you in some nursing home. Don't expect us to care for you when you're sick and alone. I wouldn't dream of it, I said. You've made it clear that our relationship is transactional. No money, no family. I understand perfectly now. Sarah grabbed her keys. You're making a huge mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. Michael stopped at the door, his final card to play. The kids will forget you. You know that, right? Sophie's already asking why you don't love her anymore. In a few years, you'll just be some old man they barely remember. Is that what you want? The words hit like knives, but I kept my face neutral. If that's what happens, then I'll know I raised children who taught their own children that love is conditional on money, and that will tell me everything I need to know. They left, slamming the door behind them. I stood in my living room, my heart pounding, adrenaline surging through my body. My hands shook. Part of me wanted to run after them, to apologize, to fix it, but I didn't. Instead, I sat down, pulled out my phone, and texted Samuel Harrison. Meeting happened, got worse, proceeding with all legal changes. His response came quickly. Good. Proud of you. This is the hard part. It gets better. I wasn't sure I believed him, but I had come too far to turn back now. Christmas came and went. I spent it with Tom and his family. It hurt. God, it hurt to not see Sophie and Jake, but I survived. Then 2 days after New Year's, I received a call from Samuel Harrison. Robert, I need you to come to my office. Something's happened. His tone made my stomach drop. What is it? Just come, today if possible. An hour later, I sat across from him as he slid a document across his desk. It was a petition for guardianship. Of me. I stared at it, not comprehending. What is this? Michael and Sarah have filed a petition claiming you're mentally incompetent and need a legal guardian to manage your finances. They're seeking to be appointed as co-guardians. The room tilted. They what? They've submitted statements claiming you've been acting erratically, making irrational financial decisions, showing signs of dementia. They have a doctor's letter. From my doctor? That's impossible. I haven't been to the doctor. Not your doctor. A doctor Jennifer knows from her gym, Dr. Richard Patterson. He's written a letter stating that based on conversations with Michael and Sarah, he has concerns about your cognitive function. I couldn't breathe. He's never even met me. I know. That's why this won't stand. But Robert, we need to fight this aggressively. They're trying to gain control of your assets by declaring you incompetent. Can they do that?
Not if we act fast. I've already scheduled a hearing for next week. You'll need an independent psychiatric evaluation. I have an excellent doctor who specializes in these cases, and we're going to need to demonstrate very clearly that you're of sound mind. The evaluation took place 3 days later. Dr. Rachel Winters, a psychiatrist in her 50s, spent 4 hours with me. Cognitive tests, memory tests, questions about my life, my decisions, my reasoning. At the end, she smiled. Mr. Chen, you're one of the most mentally sharp people I've evaluated. Your executive function is excellent. Your memory is better than most people half your age. There is absolutely no evidence of cognitive decline. Their claim is baseless and, frankly, offensive. I'll be providing a detailed report to the court. The hearing was scheduled for January 12th at the county courthouse. Samuel prepped me thoroughly. They'll try to paint you as confused, emotional, irrational. You need to stay calm, answer clearly. Don't let them bait you into anger. The courtroom was small. Michael and Sarah sat with their attorney, a slick-looking man named Peter Morrison. They wouldn't look at me. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s named Judge Patricia Coleman, reviewed the documents. "Mr. Morrison," she said, "you're petitioning for guardianship."